Hi, and welcome to the video. Something that's become a meal staple, certainly in our house, is salmon, especially when Victoria's not home because she's not a huge fan. But my husband complains a lot about chicken. The only thing he doesn't seem to complain about is steak. But nevertheless, today's video is all about salmon. So I'm going to do salmon 3 ways, and they're all going to be completely different, completely delicious, super fast, super easy, great for a weeknight. Here we go. The first recipe that we're going to do today is parchment paper salmon. And you want to know what? This is one of the first ways that I ever learned how to cook fish back in 1986 when I got married, and I was really not a great cook back then. So with the parchment paper, we are going to take our piece of salmon, yikes, skin side down, and we're going to put it on a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to then season it with some salt and pepper. This is where you can get creative. I personally love fennel. I like it in salads, I like it on a crudité platter, and I like it in this parchment paper salmon. So you can use whatever kind of veggies that you like, but I'm gonna put some very thinly sliced fennel. It has a little bit of a licorice taste, and if you haven't tried it, please do try it. It's excellent. And I'm gonna add some red onions. And you can use anything because you're just making your own little veggie packet here. So I've got that. I'm going to put some fresh parsley. I've got also some fresh dill. If you don't have fresh dill, never mind. And I can even put a little bit of the fronds from the fennel on there as well. This is really getting big. And I had a little bit of cherry tomatoes, again, optional, and some orange. I'm going to put some orange slices on top, and I'm going to give my whole little packet a squeeze of orange juice. I'm then going to wrap it up. Let me show you how you wrap it up. All right, seal that up as best you can and put it on a baking sheet. Then I'm going to pop it into a 400-degree oven. It's ready for probably around 15 minutes. We do not want to overcook the salmon. Better to check it and then have to put it back in than to overcook it. All right, so 15 minutes is up. Ooh. Let's give it a look. Open carefully, there's going to be steam inside. There we go. And look, that fish is perfect. Something that's hugely popular these days are poke bowls, where you're using raw tuna or raw salmon, and you have a variety of different vegetables alongside. It's kind of like when you're making fajitas, and all of the work in the fajita is doing all of the chopping, like stir fries as well. This is the same idea. And again, you get to be the master of your meal. You get to decide what goes in. There are not things that have to go in. But the first thing that we really must do is we must prepare our fish. So whether you're using salmon, which we're using today, or tuna, please get the freshest fish that you can. You do not want to have fish that's been hanging around in your fridge and you're going to be eating it raw. What I've done is I've made a marinade of soy sauce, a little bit of sesame oil, some seasoned rice vinegar, and some sriracha. And that is going to be the marinade for our fish. And mix that up, and I can just marinate that while I can prepare the rest of the things that I need. I'm going to be serving my poke bowl on brown rice today, just my personal preference. You can use any kind of rice that you like, or even cauliflower rice if you think that that's a better idea. All that's left to do is make it pretty. I've got my rice in the bottom of my bowl, and now I get to add all of my accoutrements. So I'm going to start with my fish, and I'm not going to pour all that extra marinade in. I'm just going to put the fish on the side, and then something that you often see is avocado. So this is going to be full of really good healthy fats. I've got some chopped crunchy red cabbage, definitely some cucumbers. What I'm also going to add is, if you recall, Victoria and I made fermented red onions. So I thought that sounded like a great thing to add. So I'm going to add in some of those, a little bit of matchstick carrots, the edamame, which you can just buy frozen and pop into the microwave. So I've got some edamame, everything in its little spot. I've got some little packs of nori that I buy at Costco. And the other thing is you can add a little bit of sriracha to some Greek yogurt. Some people add it to mayo, but you know that doesn't happen at my house. And that can go along the top. A little bit of the ginger, like the sushi ginger. Oh my goodness, it looks like a Picasso. So beautiful. Good. And, oh, I'm making a mess of this. And this is definitely a rainbow of goodness. And if you're the person that does not like raw fish at all, you know what? There's no rules. Take the fish in the marinade and put it on the frying pan for a few seconds and stir fry it up. Nobody's going to know. You had your own kind of poke bowl, so don't worry about it. I thought I was going to have all kinds of salmon for dinner. Guess again. Paul just ate the poke for lunch, and Will just showed up and he goes, that looks good.
I came at the right time.
You did. Mm-hmm. So there goes that. So we just have one more salmon to do, and we're going to do that in a few minutes. Don't you love that fennel? Mm-hmm. I love fennel.
I love fennel. Is that dill?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. And we're on to our third and final salmon of the day. And you know the other thing great about salmon is even when you buy it frozen, it thaws so quick. Well, that's why it's really amazing for a midweek meal. I have my piece of salmon. Now, what I love about this recipe is you can do it just in the marinade and then put it on the grill or even put it in your air fryer if you like. But there's the option of having the sauce if you want to kick it up a notch and look like a real kitchen diva. And who doesn't want to do that? So I'm going to start by just seasoning my piece of salmon on both sides with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now this one is a Thai-inspired salmon that I've come up with, and what I'm going to use is some coconut milk. I always buy the lighter coconut milk just because I think that they taste the same, and it's significantly less fat, and we know that the coconut things are a high fat. So just because I only have one piece, I'm only going to use maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 1/4 cup is fine. And I've got a knob of fresh ginger, and I've grated some of that. So I'm going to put that in for the marinade. We're going to be using the same things really for the sauce, but I'm going to pan fry those. And then I've got a little bit of chopped garlic, which I'm going to put in. I'm going to add just a splash of soy sauce and a splash of fish sauce. And again, fish sauce is one of those things. Don't smell it. It smells gross. But it does make a big difference. Whoa. A big difference in flavor. So, you know, just a little squirt of that. And I'm making such a small amount because I only have one piece of fish left. The other two pieces, they're long gone. Now, we can just plop that in this bag. And if you wanted, if you had more, you could, in fact, leave this overnight. You could do this whole thing the night before and leave that in the fridge. But in the meantime, we'll just have that soaked even for like 15 minutes or so while we're getting the rest of our ingredients ready. Oh, forgot the lime juice. So I'm just going to add that too, which also helps cook the salmon ahead of time. So we'll add the lime juice as well. All right, salmon is marinating. Now what we have is a small onion. I had a shallot, so I've just chopped that up. And I've got a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm going to now put this on the pan with probably even less than a teaspoon of coconut oil. And I'm going to heat that pan until it's hot. Then I'm going to put the salmon skin side down, and I'm going to leave that for a good probably 4 to 5 minutes at a fairly high heat, not like smoking joes, but you know, at a fairly high heat until I think that that salmon is crispy. Then when I turn it over, only for probably another 3 minutes or so. My pan is heating up, and what I have to do is I have to dry off the salmon. You do not want to have it really wet because you're not going to get a good sear. So you just need to pat it dry, and we're just going to discard the rest of that marinade. Okay, and we're going to go skin side down. While that's searing, the other things I want to tell you is I love serving this with bok choy. This is baby bok choy, and you can steam that in the microwave or on the stove. I'm going to just add it to the sauce. And the other thing is I'm going to use some lemongrass that you can just buy in the tube, because lemongrass is really hard to find and difficult to keep as well. Whoa! You can see how this is already starting to cook through. The little thin piece is really already ready to go. So I'm going to flip that over before I burn my house down. I'll let that go for another, probably just about another 2 minutes. Then I'll set it aside and let it rest while we quickly put together the sauce. I've taken off that salmon. When in doubt, take it off ahead of time because it's going to sit while we do the sauce. So I'm going to start now with my onion and my ginger and my garlic. And I'm just going to let that saute for just a couple minutes till everything is softened. I'm going to add a nice squeeze of the lemongrass. I've mixed up a half a cup of coconut milk, splash of soy sauce, and a splash of the fish sauce as well. I'm going to add the juice of the other half of my lime, lower my heat, and we're like almost just about ready. Like, how crazy is this? We're just going to let that thicken a little bit. And what I also have is some chopped cilantro. And I have some fresh basil. I don't have Thai basil, but I have other fresh basil. And that's what we're going to be adding in here as well. So I'm going to go in with my little baby bok choys. And I think I'll just put a lid on that. You can see that the sauce has come to a really nice consistency. Obviously, this is really delicious with some rice, maybe even some coconut rice. And I'm going to put that into the bottom of my dish. You see how nicely that is done on both sides. Some people love to eat the skin, especially when it's nice and crispy. I'm not one of those people, but I can appreciate the fact that they do like that. That is a super fast, really elegant meal that you can whip up in no time. You can marinate the fish overnight if you have to go to work and come home and it's already done, really mixing up almost everything for the sauce and just having to chop some onions and some garlic and some ginger. So let's just give this a try. I hope you can see that there are so many different ways to do salmon, and they are all so fast and simple. The possibilities are endless. I'm going to dig in here. Oh, you are going to love this. Please give it a try. Thank you so much for tuning in today and cooking salmon with me. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.